Where tiles click, the stories flow, and strategy meets laughter.
I'm Tina.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're here to bring you all things Mahjong. Whether you're a seasoned player or just shuffling in for the first time, we've got you covered.
So grab your tiles, pour yourself some tea,
or something a little stronger,
and let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode.
And now we have such a special guest. We are so excited.
I know, y'all are about to listen to Kathy Wise from Mahj the Magazine.
Oh, welcome, Kathy.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I know, we're excited. We're huge fans.
I know.
The magazine looks, what we've seen looks...
It's stunning.
Yeah, Mahj Magazine.
Yeah.
We just got it in the office yesterday, so we finally got our copies in the office.
She is holding it up and showing it to us, and it's so beautiful.
I don't know if I can do a little
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get our copy. I'm
little
so
flip
excited.
through. But yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wait.
This is so exciting.
And I can't decide if it's like holding place is going to be in our actual, like our living room on the coffee. I mean, it's like a piece of art, like or in
the Mahjong room, maybe.
The Mahjong room. I took over my husband's sports room, and it is now every time he comes in, he's like, it's just slow. Now he's just accepted it. It's not his room anymore.
There was a table, and then two tables, and then curtains, and then now it's just a thing.
Now it's just all mine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we want to start like we always do with our Mahjong moments.
Yeah.
So,
did you have any good? I mean, you probably have a ton lately. It doesn't have to just be playing the game.
Yeah.
What's your Mahjong moments?
It's the magazine. It's getting my baby this week. It has to be that has to be it.
And it's such a special moment. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
sure.
I feel like we can't move forward until people hear about your stupid lucky socks.
Okay, so Kathy, I have lucky socks, and every time I wear these silly things, it's like a uniform now. I can't ever take them off.
I know.
But I win, like crazy win, like 6.
What?
Yeah, there are these. My daughter's boyfriend got me lucky socks for Christmas.
On like Amazon or something. It says lucky Mahjong socks.
And they're, but I wear them. I don't have them on today because I knew I wasn't playing Mahjong, and I actually washed. They're in the wash. But every time I wear them, it's like domination, carnage at the table. So I wore them again when we played at lunch, and I beat Tina 3-0. And I attribute it to the lucky socks.
I would also like to attribute it to the lucky socks, but I do think she's really good. And
That was mine. So I got 3-0 with the lucky socks,
which was really painful.
But then Tina came back yesterday. We have that work Wednesday, and do you want to share your good news?
Well, we were sitting with Mr. Concealed, and I did get one in, and Concealed got one, and you were 0, friend.
I was 0.
Oh no!
Without lucky socks. Listeners.
Yeah, I know. I think the karma came back because when I win, Kathy, I'm obnoxious.
It's a cute obnoxious, but it's a lot.
Yeah, pretty bad.
What color are they?
They're white, and I'll have to send you the link because they're
okay.
I wish they had like one for every day of the week.
Sporty looking. They've got like a stripe on the top.
They're like kind of mid-calf ones. I know they're not. I mean, I kind of do dig them, but they're like bright yellow and royal blue. But I'll wear them with pink. I mean, like it doesn't matter if it matches. No,
she just wants to win.
No,
yeah.
The luck goes with everything.
Yes, I like to put my calf up and then shoot them up and go, look what I am on today.
It's endearing and annoying.
I'll take it. I will take it.
So in every episode, we have our shout out.
I know. We shout out listeners and people following along, but you are our shout out. So we are so excited to be here.
We're shouting out Kathy Wise.
What?
From Mahj the Magazine. It's you.
I know, for being so awesome. And so your resume is extensive, but now you're adding podcast superstar. That can be a new bullet point.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
So we just kind of want to get in. We want to get to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you tell us a little bit about your Mahjong story and kind of what role does that play for your life now?
But yeah, I had a good friend from college, and her Jewish grandmother taught us to play back in school. And I laugh all the time because you meet all of these like fabulous instructors across the country now that are like, they're so encouraging and warm, and they have cute little sayings and songs that they do to like teach you all the things and have you remember. And Nilda Schneider was not that. She was not, she was not a kind and friendly instructor. She took it very seriously. She was constantly like disappointed in us for how slow we were. She would dead hand us at the drop of a hat. So it was, but I loved the abuse and I immediately loved the game. And so I've been playing it ever since.
I love that.
I do too.
We kind of said this, we did an Olympic episode, and sometimes my best coaches or teachers are the intimidating ones, because you don't want to disappoint them.
Right, right.
Yeah.
The harsh ones are good.
Yeah, that's a good story. I love that.
So as a longtime player, and we find that fascinating because Kathy, we shared with you
Yeah.
the newer players. And so I just think, I don't know, the decades of wisdom behind that. I really want to dig into that. But we want to know, as a longtime player, how does it feel for Mahjong to be such like a rising star right now?
It's just so incredible and amazing, and I love it. I love that it's taken off. I love that it's reaching all new communities. I love that you're seeing it grow both on the American Mahjong side and on the Chinese Mahjong side, and that so many people are learning both versions, and moms are playing with daughters, and daughters are playing with friends, and whole families are playing, and it's just really, really exciting. And then the more people that learn and know, the more people you have to play with and places to play. And so it's just really exciting and incredible.
So cool.
Yeah. Speaking of, that made me think, you said American and Chinese is growing. So my cousin, who I don't get to see a lot, though, she messaged me, and she is learning Chinese before American. So we're going to flip flop, and she's going to teach me, and I'm going to teach her.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So I know, well, she's kind of been following along on our podcast Superstar Journey.
Share this with me.
Like, we're so busy. But yeah, she just messaged the other day, and she was asking me for mat suggestions. She got some tiles.
Oh.
And so anyway, I sent her links. And so I don't know, I guess I was just surprised that she learned Chinese first, which is awesome.
That's so cool.
So yeah, so we're gonna flip flop.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find it the easier entree to learn because you're not dealing with the card and the concept of the pairings and pungs and kongs and chows and all that stuff is a little easier, but the scoring and like how you put it together is so crazy complicated. So I feel like it uses a whole different part of your brain. And when you realize that like in Chinese Mahjong, you can Mahjong and get 0 points, like that,
wow.
that's mind blowing. You're like, I thought I won and I get nothing. Yeah.
Get a sticker. First time? Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, so Kathy, let's shift over a little bit. We want to know a little bit about your professional background. Who is Kathy Wise before Mahj the Magazine?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I've got a bizarre resume, like I think a lot of women that have ended up in the world of mahjong. And I always laugh because my mom was an English teacher and my dad was a lawyer, and but my dad said you can't make a living as a writer. So my first professional foray was into the law, and so I worked for legal aid, rural legal aid in a tiny county in very rural part of Ohio, and so mostly doing domestic violence work and commercial or consumer law types of things, car leases, all that kind of fun stuff. And then my wife took a job with American Airlines. We were up in Ohio, moved to Texas in, 2004. And so at that point in time, I was kind of like, I don't know that I want to be a lawyer forever. And so kind of looked around, but it's always easiest to kind of find a job doing what you know how to do already, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up at the city attorney's office, and then just had one of those, had a really horrible lawsuit with the city, and my mom passed away in 2007. And it was just kind of one of those wake up moments that was like, I really don't want to do this forever. And a friend had been like, well, what would you want to do? And I said, I always wanted to be in magazines, but I'm in Dallas, Texas now. And so that doesn't seem possible at all. And she happened to do yoga with a guy who had a publishing company, and just kind of got into quit my job and started at the ground level and learned
Wow.
everything there was about kind of book publishing, and then moved into the magazine field here in Dallas. And so we had a Western lifestyle publication that was based here. And so worked there and then came over to D Magazine about 10 years ago. And so I've been there, but I just, I love magazines. I love print. I love storytelling. And so it's been really great.
Yeah, such a fun story.
I know.
Yeah. So, okay, so bring us along then on the journey from that magazine. Life is moving. How did the idea for Mahj the Magazine come about? Like, was this a lightning bolt moment? Was it like a slow burn?
We were drinking and playing Aquamage in the pool.
Nice. We have that.
my bestie Sam Murphy's pool, and we were like, I had done a cookbook for D Magazine during COVID. It was like we wanted to kind of do something. We were stuck at home, and our photographer Elizabeth Lavin and I were hanging out, and we were like, we could do a whole cookbook that we just like shoot on my back patio, and it would be all about foods that you could share and eat with your hands, that you didn't need utensils or crazy things, and you could sit 6 feet apart and like picnic and all that kind of stuff, And I just
Yeah, it is.
so we had a lot of fun doing that. So as we're drunk in the pool, drinking our spritzes or whatever we were having, I was like, you know what? We need to do a Mahjong cookbook, because there's no real Mahjong cookbook that I'm aware of. And same kind of concept, right? Like snacky foods that you can eat with your hands and share. And so we were like, that's brilliant. Let's do a Mahjong cookbook. And then I got home the next day, and I was like, you know what I know even better than cookbooks is magazines. And it just seemed like, we're in magazines and publishing are it's a tough business to be in 2026.
Sure.
It's a challenging world. But it just seemed like such a natural fit to me that you've got this tactile, game that's so experiential, and that old school, now what's considered an old school form of media, would just fit it so well. And so, and then I was like, I felt like it was a genius idea. And then I started talking to people, and I was like, oh, somebody's going to tell me that this is really idiotic to start a magazine now, and tell me no, that you can't do that. And that didn't actually happen. So
No, I think it's a beautiful pairing for all the reasons you just said. It's perfect. It's a great little parallel together. So can you tell us a little bit about your team behind the magazine?
yeah, so Samantha Murphy, who was there in the pool with me when this idea was birthed, she is our deputy editor, and so she's incredible, and she's been playing for a while and is part of my regular Mahj crew, and she's kind of the business and marketing brains behind. She's got a background in econ and marketing, and so she's kind of that piece of it. And then, of course, Marshall McKinney, I can't believe I didn't mention him first, but he's our creative director, and he was my dream. For those who don't know, he was the founding creative director of Garden and Gun magazine based out of Charleston, and has just done all kinds of incredible projects. He's done stuff for Outside, and I think he's redesigning city and regional magazines, and just incredible stuff. But when we were concepting this, and I was like, I want something that's really different, I was like, Marshall's like, he's done this. Like when Garden and Gun came out, that was kind of a reinvention of what a magazine could be. The visuals were totally different. And then, it's been copied so many times over the years and kind of became the standard. But I was like, yeah, he would be my dream. And I was like, there's no way he's going to say yes.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And he did. And so, I got off the phone with him, and I like literally laid down on the floor. I just couldn't believe that he was on board. But yeah, so we've got Marshall, and then we've got a lovely young woman, Avery Ferguson, who's been heading up our kind of partnership and events kinds of things. And then our owner and CEO of D Magazine Partners, Christine Allison, who's just an incredible, incredible woman who's been in publishing forever. She's written books of her own, has started numerous magazines, and is the owner of D Magazine. She's the one that has backed this project and allowed me to do it, and so she's also an integral part. Oh, and I can't believe I need to mention Elizabeth Laban. So she was the cookbook. She was the photographer that started the cookbook with me, and she's one of the most talented photographers in the country. And so it has just been a privilege to have worked with her through all my time at D Magazine. She just has such an incredible eye, and so she has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting with the photography in these issues. But she just does such an amazing job. So she's the one that she and Marshall are the ones that make it look beautiful.
That's so exciting. Well, I can tell that you pulled together just such a neat, talented group, just based on what we've seen on socials and what you've showed us. I cannot wait. Well, okay, so speaking of that, maybe for our listeners who haven't seen your socials yet and they don't know, can you kind of describe some of the vibe of the magazine?
So the vibe to me, I know, and you sent me a note about that, and then I was like what is the it's the vibe? Because it's just kind of like what's in my head. But I wanted it to be modern and beautiful, but also welcoming and fun. Not exclusionary, that it was something that, really draws you in and gets you excited. I wanted that real element of surprise. And kind of wrapping all that stuff together, but kind of bridging that distance between something that's really beautiful and thoughtful and smart, and then also just fun and energy.
I think I saw a layout. I can't remember where I saw it because I went to go back and re-find it and show Michelle, and I couldn't find it. There are some fun, surprising, just in the shots that I saw that are really so fun.
So one of my favorites.
Pulling out her issue now, listeners.
I know. I gotta open it up. Oh, that's right, because we're not on. We're not be showing on camera.
You're welcome to describe it if you want.
I will describe it. So we did a story with the Mahjong line, and it was so funny because we got in there. We were shooting at Kate Laguerre's house, and one of their assistants had come downstairs and said they're nervous about this photo shoot, which just seemed crazy to me because they're such incredible, talented, smart, funny ladies. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll go up for a second and tell them, like, this is just going to be fun. Like, there's nothing scary about this shoot at all. And so I walk upstairs into Kate's closet, and it is just chaos. They both brought in like all of their outfits and everything that they're, that for all of their various costume changes and everything for the shoot. And they're standing there in the midst of it all. And it is just the brightest, wildest, craziest thing. And so I immediately grabbed Elizabeth and was like, you need to start shooting now. As in, they had like matching pajamas on. I think somebody, one of them had gotten themselves matching pajamas. And so there's this insane photo of the two of them in this crazy closet. And I think Annie, the other co-founder, had put on one of those red LED masks and was just like sitting on the floor looking at her phone. So and that's some of the just like lovely energy that comes about doing this. It's just one of the best parts of the job.
I love that fusion. That's so cool.
I do too. Okay, so we love how the issues are rooted in the wins and the seasons. Mm-hmm. So tell us about like that idea. Is it going to be like that every year, or is that just the first year?
I think it's been working really well so far, so I think it might continue. And we're not, so first year, it's Dallas, Charleston, New York, and then San Francisco / California. Mm-hmm. The plan isn't for them to be locked into like just being about one place, but it gives us an organizing principle and kind of a place to focus on. And so that has just turned out to be so amazing because you get to see these completely different slices of life and how Mahjong is being played and experienced in different places in different communities. And so as opposed to just having kind of a mishmash of everything, it helps us organize it a little bit, but again, being able to branch out and have fun with other stuff. Even just seeing like the Charleston issue is going to be entirely different from the Dallas issue. It has a totally different visual vibe, people vibe, what's going on. And so that's so exciting to me. And then also seeing what's coming up for New York and San Francisco too. And I think some of them might be broader. Like if we do the Midwest, I know we've had a lot of requests to head to Chicago, and other places like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So right now the plan would be to kind of continue that going forward.
It's such a neat riff off of the Mahjong game itself.
Yeah.
With the winds. I mean, it's such a brilliant pairing. Again, it's just smartly done.
I can't wait. Well, I love all the places, but the areas, but I'm a New York City
nut
freak. I love it. So I cannot wait to see the vibe of Mahjong in that area. It's gonna be exciting.
cool.
For sure.
Okay, so we are kind of curious, and we don't know anything about magazines. We need to tell you that. We need to tell our listeners that.
We just like them.
I love them. I love the glossy pages. My mother-in-law loves her.
Yeah.
Yes, she keeps me well magazined at my house.
Yeah.
Precious. So I don't know anything about this, but I do want to know, like, is there some sort of non-negotiable element that you knew that this magazine just had to include?
There was all of it. I wanted all of it. I wanted strategy. I wanted philanthropy. I wanted events. I wanted travel. I wanted culture. I wanted history. I wanted community. So I wanted all of that. Again, nobody told me no. The only fight that kind of came up, and so I'll be curious what when you see it and from your listeners, what people's feedback will be. But from the very beginning, I wanted to have an element of kind of, scorecards and note pages for like journaling in the back of the book, so that it would be this really personal thing that could also capture a little bit of time for subscribers, that you could keep notes about what your favorite games were and what your favorite snack was at Sally's house and just those little things.
Well, it becomes a collectible artifact.
Yeah. And again, to kind of take it out of that like magazine mode of this is something for me to glance at and throw away, that this is really intended to be something to keep. And I got some pushback at the beginning. We had some people on our staff that were like, I don't like, and who's going to want to write in the magazine like that they've spent money on? They're not going to want to write in it. And I was like, but I really like, I feel like it transforms the publication into something else. Yeah. So I'll be curious what people think about it.
Well, I think it's such a brilliant idea. I like it.
I think it looks like a piece of art.
Yeah, it is art.
Yeah, it is art. I feel like so too. People are going to want to display it.
Okay, again, we are not like magazine creators. We don't know anything about it, but
we're just podcasting.
I want to know, like, what part of the process lights you up the most? Because I have this, okay, again, we're Generation X, not all of our listeners are, but like, I have like this old school memory of like when you would put yearbooks together or newspapers for your high school, and like you would physically cut the clippings and put them where you wanted them. And it was such a fun, like, scrapbooking process.
Yes.
So I think I would have loved magazines in the 80s. Like being on the other side, but maybe in 1986. Like that's what I would want.
Yeah. It's still kind of old school like that though. I feel like there's a name for it. Now I can't think about it. We've got a big wall in the magazine offices that have little magnets, and you can print out pages and like rearrange stuff for what order you want it to be in. And this one is kind of unusual too, because it's not that most magazines have a very set formula for front of book, the well, which is where all the big features are, and then back of book. And in my head, this was something that was more fluid, that was going to, depending on what the story was or the content was, that I always tell my editors, I love stories to live their best life. And so if their best life is something that's small and piecey, then that's what it needs to be. If their best life is something huge and over the top, then that's what it needs to be. And so I had this really fluid sense. And so then as Marshall and I were kind of concepting stuff, there was a lot of like putting things, like literally sticking them up on the wall and moving them around, and how do these colors go with this, and is Do we need an illustration here? Do we need another photo? How's all that going to work? So yeah, there's a literal like cut and paste element to this
I
stuff.
would dig that. So
Yeah, me
in
too.
Podcast Superstar, I think under that, I want this scrapbooking layout part of the magazine. So if you get an opening, just let me know. Because
Okay,
that's the
okay,
part I would
deal.
love.
What do you love, Michelle? Well, I'm the English.
You
I
love
like
the writing.
writing.
You're a writer, you love stories.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I do love that.
Well, okay, so we were thinking about this again, not magazine creators, we do not know, but there's got to be some skills that shift from mahjong, being a great mahjong player, that shift into your life of creating a magazine. Like, what skills help you be an awesome magazine creator?
So the pivot has to be number one, right? And so because there's so many moments where I'm like, oh, and we'll have like this issue will contain this, and this. And then all of a sudden somebody sends you an email and you're like, oh my God, that's an incredible story. I want to tell that story. Or we thought we were going to be able to do this for visuals, and now we need to shift in an entirely different direction. And so that ability to kind of start with a plan, but be prepared to like take the next best path, which may actually take you to the better outcome. I think that is huge. And then I would also say, so my deputy editor, Sam, she her favorite thing to do is stop the Charleston, which annoys the heck out of the rest of us. She just loves to do it, just like as a move. She loves to do that. But I think there's an element of that too in making magazines, that at some point you just have to make the determination that you have a critical mass, and it's time to leap. Right? Because if you're just sitting around waiting for the perfect hand or trying to get everything lined up just right, you're never going to get anywhere. And so there's something about that stopping the Charleston where you're like, you know what? I've got 8 tiles, and I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to see what happens. But I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to go. And I feel like that's been very much a part of this process of starting a brand new magazine.
That's a fun carryover.
Learning something new every day. Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of learned too, the Mahjong community is incredibly relational. So how does the magazine reflect that, the relationships in Mahjong?
I think that is a lot. Those are the stories, right? And it's just been, it's one of the most surprising parts of starting this, I think, to me, has been, I knew there were great stories out there, and I knew that's part of why I wanted to do a magazine, but the stories are so much bigger and diverse and deeper and everything else than I could have possibly imagined. And so like, just for an example, I mean, this week I talked yesterday with a young man who is growing Chinese mahjong in Chicago, and working with a lot of young Chinese Americans that are hoping to reconnect with their cultures, and really trying to make it accessible and not expensive, and not have barriers to entry, and not have to pay a lot of money to do events, and teaching it. And he'd come out with this beautiful card that kind of broke down the elements of playing the game. And so he's creating these spaces where more people can play and more people can connect. And then meanwhile, we spoke to a tile founder who is also a therapist. She's retired now for the most part, but still seeing some clients. But then talking about the game through her eyes as a therapist. And she was talking about even neuroaesthetics and what happens in your space, and then conflict at the board, and how the game just plays into so many aspects of mental health, and steps that she's taken to work with clients and kind of help them heal through the game. And there's just like endless examples of this, how people are taking this game and then just reaching people in incredible and surprising ways. It really is amazing.
That is so neat. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, how do you decide which stories to tell? Like you said, there's so many out there.
I know.
What does it look like?
And that's getting harder and harder too. So I think part of it, we're trying to build this magazine differently. There's a sense that websites going forward are not going to exist the way that they have in the past and aren't going to be as important. A lot of people are consuming media more through social media, through Instagram, Facebook, those kinds of things. And who knows in 6 months or another year what that world's going to look like. And so I think it's also coming up with all the different ways that we can tell stories. And so whether that's through little video snippets or having people, I encourage all of your listeners, write in letters and tell me your story. We're printing letters in the magazine. We're going to find other ways to do that. And so that's another way where we don't necessarily have to have a writer do it, but we can have, just have people write their own stories. I just had an incredible letter come in from a woman the other day. She had kind of sent me a little Instagram note about how she had a very personal experience with the game and had found it really healing in her life. And I was like, tell me about it. And she wrote, it is one of the most incredible, it was just the most beautiful thing. And that's going to be in our Charleston issue. So, that was a rambling way of saying we're trying to get really creative in the ways that we're able to capture stories. I would love, when I was talking to this young man yesterday, one of my dreams is to have like a story corps for Mahjong, where were you ever familiar with that from, I think it was on, what was it? NPR did it, I think. But I think they literally had like little, like vans or like little mobile studios, and people could come in and just record stories about,
Oh my gosh.
and so somebody that lived through World War II, or somebody that lived through the Depression or whatever, that they were just recording all these stories. And so one of my dreams is to have a little mobile Mahjong. Nobody steal this. A little like Mahjong story van where people can share their Mahjong or origin stories. But yeah, there's so much. And so I'm so excited about all the ways that we can start to capture and share this stuff.
Okay, looking ahead, what is the vision for Mahj the Magazine in the next year or 5 years? What's the plan, or does it constantly change for you based on the stories you're hearing?
Yeah, we're kind of in that pivot mode. Our goal is to be able to, once we've got our subscriptions built up, to be able to expand more into events and those kinds of things. We've had some incredible collaborations that we've been able to do in the Dallas area, just because we're here. But we would really like to be able to expand that nationwide. And like I said, just kind of constantly figuring out new ways to do this type of storytelling in different forms. But yeah, I think it's changing by the day already. And so we're excited to see where this first issue takes us and what happens down the road.
I am too. We're excited to follow along.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about your background and how you had to pivot in your background a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
Like Michelle and I both have those same stories.
Yeah, we've changed careers, yes.
Many times. And so you don't make those changes without something impacting you as a person. So we would love to know, like, how has this project impacted you so far?
It has pushed me to realize that I have greater capacity than I ever thought I did. I'm sure, as you guys know, adding a business to your existing day job
We get
is
that.
a challenge. And there are moments where you're like, why did I ever think this is a good idea? And I don't know that I can do this again. But yeah, realizing that when you stretch yourself, that you can reach new heights and do even more. And it's pushing me to use some skills that maybe I haven't used for a while. And it's the first time for me to be able to. This is the first brand I've built. And it's the first kind of creating a magazine entirely my own that didn't start as somebody else's vision, that I stepped into, right? To maybe put a little bit of my stamp on it. But this is the first time that it's truly my baby, and that carries with it a lot of fun and excitement, and also it's pretty darn scary.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, so far we think you're nailing it.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
thank you.
But we realize that comes with a lot of responsibility and stress on the other side too. But I think that's just going to make you so much more proud of what you've built. It's so exciting.
It is. Okay, so we're going to kind of pivot.
Yes.
So your Mahjong game night, because I know you played the pool Mahjong, but it sounds like you have like maybe a weekly or a consistent group. So what's your perfect game night look like?
So our game night, it's our regular foursome. So it's me
Okay.
and my wife and Sam and her wife, and we play either at they have a studio which is beautiful, where we play, or we have a little mahjong room over here that we play in, and yeah, so it's us. It's a lot of snacks. Somebody picks up responsibility for the dinner and the food and beverages, and it is a time to reconnect at the end of the week. It's usually on Friday or Saturday, and kind of touch base and really stay be able to see how everybody's doing, and yeah, enjoy each other's company. And having been going to a lot more mahjong events now for the magazine, oh my God, I mean, things get really loud and crazy, and that is not my game. I'm learning that is not my game. I love to go and I love to enjoy it, but I'm like, I can't with all of the sensory overload.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will never manage to maj in that scenario. So mine is a quiet friends and family game at home.
Quieter setting.
Yeah.
I can't. Sometimes, see, I think we told you when we had breakfast that we have the work Wednesday, and if someone's talking, like I can't focus in. Yeah. It's just too
The
much.
most, I mean, it is loud, but it's always about the game or we're ribbing each other. Like,
Right.
it's never anything extra. Like,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't either. I can't either. I got to focus in.
Yes. So our listeners are going to want to know, Kathy, because we ask all of our podcast superstar celebrities, what is your mahjong nickname?
Okay, so I think my mahjong nickname would have to be the Doubler. And this goes back to, I'll credit my friend Haley, who used it as a pejorative back in our domino days, because I was known for playing double tiles and making things hard for her. And so she called me the Doubler. So but I feel like that nickname can carry over into mahjong because I love singles and pairs.
Oh,
I like to go big or go home, and so
wow.
yeah.
I'm so impressed right now.
I know. I feel like if we ever play with Kathy, she's definitely going to smoke us. I mean,
No,
no doubt.
That is so.
I didn't say I'm successable at it. It's just, I like to play there.
So, like, if I get one in that section once a year, it's like newsworthy.
Oh, yeah, we put the crown on, the
Yeah.
sash, we're
I know.
parading down the hall. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. That's funny. So funny. And we're playing in our first tournament Saturday, and I was like,
Oh, congratulations!
well, we'll see. We told the listeners if we don't mention it again, it means we fell flat on our face. But we are excited.
We are.
Yeah,
Okay. I think what I love is that Kathy just said congratulations, and all we did was register. So if that's all we have to do to get
That
ready to
is,
go,
that
I'm
is.
in.
I think that's huge, and they're so much fun. I have to tell you, the first tournament I played. So this was I hadn't played for a while, and I had some friends that wanted to start, and so we started going to this woman, Susan Ehrlich, in town for lessons. And I was like, my goal, since I'd been playing for a while, was to get up to tournament speed. And so I was like, Susan, I need to train for this tournament, and I'm super nervous. And like, what do I need to do? And we would come in. She was not far off from my original Jewish grandmother training plan. And she would be like, you're too slow. You're too slow. She's like, you can't play this tournament. She's like, I'm going to call up the tournament director and tell her to not let you play this tournament because I don't think you're ready. And I was like, Susan, seriously? Like I feel like I can sit at a table and like play. Like, I'm not asking to win. I just want to play in a tournament. And she was just like so discouraging. She's like, no, I don't think you can do it. And so I was so paranoid by the time I got there, and I was like, I'm going to play so fast. So I sat at a table and I ended up my first table. It was like all ladies. It was like several women in their, like 80s and 90s, and they were taking their time. They were not in a rush.
Oh,
They did not care.
nice.
And so I was like, I'm so fast. I'm so ready. Like what was Susan thinking about? And then at the next table, there were like three ladies that like they were the ones that don't play with cards. Like they didn't even have their cards out and they were playing.
what
And
do
I
you
was like,
think of that? Oh my gosh.
oh no.
Wow.
But that's the fun about tournaments. Like you don't have to win. You're going to have fun. You're going to learn how like they run, and there's so much fun because it's like speed dating, and you're going to go around to different tables and you're going to meet different people. And I'll tell you what, this is my top tip for anybody entering a tournament for the first time.
Okay.
If you get overwhelmed, play singles and pairs, because closed hands, you don't have to think about passing
to
tiles.
win.
You're not going to slow anything down. And then when it comes to the end and somebody else yells Mahj, you'll be like, I was two hands or two tiles away from 1-3-5-9 and singles and and then you can kind of show off and be like, oh, I almost had a 75-point hand or whatever. But yeah, so if you play a closed or even a closed hand, it'll let you go. It'll let you go fast and take that pressure off. So it's kind of like counterintuitive, I always think. But if you go in and you feel a little bit overwhelmed and you're like, don't know what to do, go for closed or singles and pairs, and it'll just get you in the groove of things. And maybe you'll win it.
Okay, this is so smart. Okay, Kathy's made me feel so much better about everything.
It's gonna go.
You're
good.
ready. Don't listen to Susan. You're ready.
Thanks, friend. Thanks, friend.
That's funny.
Okay, so our last mahjong question here we have, and this is an important one because I'm a foodie. We want to know, what is your favorite mahjong snack or drink or both?
So I am a gin person. So it is gin and tonics at my house. I make my own tonic.
Oh,
So it's gin and tonics are the mahjong drink at my house. And then so I'm obsessed with the New York Times cooking, recipes. Are you guys New York Times food people?
I do more recipes than Michelle does, so I'm always finding new things.
So they have this thing, and it cracked me up because like even in the initial intro, it's like, this is going to sound terrible, but it's amazing. And so it's called the Sushi Bake. And so anybody that's got a New York Times subscription, like go to the recipes and look up Sushi Bake. But it's literally like a California roll in a casserole pan.
Oh, I'm writing this down. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It sounds ridiculous, but it's like your rice, and you've got the and it even uses fake crab, like the fake crab from the store, like not real crab, not real salmon, not something fancy. It's like fake crab and cream cheese and I don't even remember, but it's pretty simple ingredients. But then if you get those, you can get the little squares of seaweed, from like
yes.
Yeah. And so then people can just serve themselves, and they essentially can make their own little sushi roll. And so that is my I highly recommend that as a snack. So then we do that on our Friday or Saturday play dates, and then it's basically like dinner, and then have some other little salty snacks. That's what we like to do.
Okay. Kathy's had so many good tips today, and I'm writing
I'm taking notes.
I know. Showing Kathy our papers and our pencils. We're very good students.
Yes, we are.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know, Kathy?
No, I just hope they join us on this journey with the magazine. And like I said, I am constantly on the lookout for photographers, for writers. If you have a story if you're not a photographer or a writer and you just want to share your personal story, we absolutely want to hear from you. If you want to collaborate with us, or just let us know about your brand, as we're working on different photo shoots and projects and everything like that, please reach out. You can email us at info@mahj.com, or reach out to us on social media. But we would love to hear from you.
So Mahj the Magazine has some fun news for our listeners. Do you want to share it?
We are going to give your listeners a free subscription to Mahj the Mag.
That is
So exciting. People are going to go nuts.
I know. So we're going to do the giveaway, I believe in May is what we're projecting right now, which is so exciting. So you guys are going to have to watch their socials and ours because you're not going to want to miss the subscriptions. You're just not.
I know. It's exciting.
I know. Okay. So Kathy, we always ask our podcast superstar celebrities to help close us out. So we would love for you to say our little closing. May your jokers be plentiful and your Charleston be kind. Happy Mahjong. Okay.
May your jokers be plentiful and your Charleston be kind. Happy Mahjong.